Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. We're going to have a rehouse today of a spider that I don't believe I've ever kept before, and that is the Thrixopelma pruriens, or the Peruvian green velvet. Now we had a small collection of spiders that come through to us, and this was one of them that was in it, and I took a bit of a shine to it. I was like, I do like that. Very pretty spider. Now this is a terrestrial spider, and obviously from Peru, Chile, South America, and it's an interesting spider. So what we're going to do, we are going to set this up as I think it should be done. Now, as I said, I've not kept these before, and there doesn't appear to be much in the way of information about them at all, but they have very similar requirements to our robustum. They seem to be, they're very similar. So I am going to set this up in a very similar way. And then what we will do, this is often the case. You know, we see this a lot on Facebook and on many of the groups. You know, people come on and they're like, I cannot find, you know, I bought this spider, I can't find any information on it. What do I do? Well, you look at other spiders that are similar, and then you can quite often mirror their care, and then we can fine tune it. So we will set this girl up as we did our robustum, very similar, and then we will fine tune it. So if we find that it's a little bit too damp for her, we'll dry it out a little bit. Or vice versa. If it's too dry, we'll make it a little bit damper. So we can always play around, and we can use other spiders as our guide. So if there's no information, look for similarities, because that is how we will end up moving forward. Now, as we said, this is a terrestrial spider. So that means it's going to be living on the floor. It's not going to be particularly climbing anywhere, and from what I understand, they're a little bit skittish, but maybe not necessarily shy. So I'm hoping that we're going to see quite a bit of this spider. I'm hoping it's going to be out and about quite a lot. That's the plan anyway. We'll stick a little bit more in there, just in case it decides it wants to burrow down a bit. So because we've not got the information that we really require, we are going to look at covering as many angles as we can. So we're going to make it so it's got a little bit of depth in this corner. We're going to give it a simple hide, a nice simple hide, like that. And then what we can do, we can bury that as well. And it does seem that they like a reasonably high amount of moisture. They like a humid environment. So we're going to use a little bit of moss up on there to try and lock some of that in. Also give us you know, a nice backdrop to our enclosure as well. This is lovely stuff, this is. Really nice. Look at that. That really is lovely moss. And this is all collected, this is all wild. You notice this is straight out of the field, straight out of the woods. We've not washed it, we've not cooked it. God, don't do them things. Use it literally as you find it. It's got all of the goodness inside it. You know, everything that we want is inside this moss. So we are going to cover that there. We'll just chop that in half. See where that gives us. That's nice. That's cool. So I'm hoping, being a bit of a terrestrial spider, I'm hoping she's going to sort of move around a bit. We've got a couple of plants here, so we're going to see if we can't incorporate some of these. She's quite a big, heavy spider, so I'm hoping that she don't end up flattening them. As I say, it's literally going to be a bit of trial and error. We really don't know what she's going to do. Now, one thing that's normal for many of the terrestrial spiders is they're not particularly mad webbers in terms of sort of webbing everything. So I'm hoping that we can get away with minimal webbing on the outside. Hopefully she will literally just web up this area here in her burrow. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Time will tell. Put that in there. We'll get a nice little water bowl, which we're going to put down here. We're going to fill that up. Now, many of these plants, we're not sure, you know, some of them might do well, some might not. It is literally a case of trial and error. See what they're going to do. Now, we often get asked, you know, how do we choose our plants? What plants do we go for? I tend to use anything that is, you know, within, you know, any of the house plants really. Any of them can be used. You know, it's not rocket science. It's literally just play around, see whatever you like the look of. The only thing I steer clear of is things like cactuses, anything that's sharp and nasty like that. I tend to stay away from. But most of your normal house plants are pretty good, and they tend to grow relatively well. So just put that one in there. I'm just looking at making a little bit here. Not so sure. We'll see. We can just give it a bit of a go. And then what we got is got a couple of little bits of bark and stuff here. Let's move these around and just see what they do. Right. What we're going to do now is we're going to water everything in. You should be able to see that water coming down the side there, soaking that substrate up. See the change in colour. We're going to soak this moss. Give that a good soak in as well. Water this one. Now the key to keeping your moss nice is you want water, preferably rainwater. If you can get it, rainwater is where you want to be, because it's got no additives or anything, and moss can be a little bit sensitive to anything like that. So we try and use rainwater if you can, because that was just so much better. Failing that, do as I do and just keep your water in butts and allow it to stand. The longer the better. So I have 4 big water containers, and that allows me to leave my water standing for 4 or 5 days at a time before I use it, by which time it's normally relatively good.
Is that good for the plants as well?
Yes, yeah, it does the plants, everything. They all work so much better on it. But if you can, if you've got a garden and you can set up a water butt, bigger the better, you know, especially if you've got, excuse me, you've got a big collection of spiders. Set up a water butt and use the water from that, and it will be absolutely perfect. It'll be lovely. Right then, here we are. This is our Peruvian green velvet. Now, yeah, there she goes. These are a new world. They do kick urticating hairs, and they are a little bit on the nervous side. As you can see there, she's a very, very pretty spider. Got lovely skeleton markings on the legs. Really, really nice.
We're not really the green velvet part.
Yeah, it doesn't show up particularly well, does it? Doesn't show particularly well. What we will do, I think we'll try and get her in. I think we'll catch her up in a cup rather than, or should we put her in like that? She's going to kick whatever happens. So these are, as we've seen before, they are quite skittish little things.
Just trying to see if we can get some good footage just in case she...
Hopefully she won't disappear.
Okay.
What we'll do, we'll catch cup her, because I think that's going to be easier than trying to tip her in from that. Now, as we've seen before, we can. She is going to kick some hairs, and I'm not sure how I react to the hairs from these spiders because I've not kept them before. So it's going to be an interesting one. So watch yourself, camera lady. This is likely to get hairy. Right. So we're going to put our tub behind. We're going to go in the front, which hopefully will back her up into it. We're going to move her very, very slowly so that we don't get that hair kicking if we can help it. She's gone into a little bit of a defense mode there. Right, now we picked her up. Notice she's been very good so far. There you go, look at that. Let's get that one. There you go. And she's in. Look at that. No messing. No hair kicking. That was really cool. She actually kicked up more of a fuss opening the box than she did coming out of it. Now you can see that green.
We can't see it on the camera if you pop the light.
You can. That is. We can see that green now.
It's a shame because it's
if you come above.
Yeah.
You should hopefully.
If I turn the camera a little bit so you can see.
Yeah, you can just about see it. There is markings there. If you can just about see it. It's difficult with the light, but the light does in fact pick it up. You see it there now.
It's got like that emerald, it's like an emerald green, isn't it?
Very, very pretty.
You come down this side, see if we can get a nice look at her face.
You go down there and I'll go on top. If you get almost level with her, you should pick up the green. So as we were saying, this is a spider we've not really had anything to do with. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a learning curve. As we say, we've set her up very similar conditions to how our robustum is. So we're looking at sort of around about a 70% mark. A little bit either way of that is no problem at all. For humidity, temperature wise, they'll enjoy this up in between sort of the mid 70s up to the 80s. They'll like that. So that will keep them going. Food wise, these guys aren't shy. They'll take on just about anything. And she's having a little mooch around now. And it's interesting to see that, you know, for such a nervous, skittish spider.
She didn't react like the robustum, did she?
No, she's reacted very, very calmly. I don't know if the cameras can picking it up, but we're getting the green on the carapace and on the legs. But there's also like an orange, almost like a copper colour to them stripes on the legs. Very, very pretty. In some respects they look almost white, and then when the light is directly above them, they're coming out like a copper colour. Really, really nice.
You keep the light there for me.
So that
really
is,
see the copper.
this should be hopefully an interesting species to try and breed in the future. Like I say, this one came in a collection, and I sort of fell in love with her and decided to keep her, and then we will try and pair her up in a later date. Now, by all accounts, she has not long molted out, so we will be looking for a male. So if anyone's got one, give us a shout. We're always up for purchasing new males, and then we can see how we get on. But yeah, a very, very interesting spider from Peru. Very, very interesting. Now, apparently these are relatively good for like pretty much all levels of keepers. You know, from beginners all the way through. They're quite tough spiders.
Would you find those not having much about it, you wouldn't recommend beginners?
Well, I think it's, you know, I think we can do our research, and we can find other spiders that are of a similar ilk, and we can work on that just as we've done today. But in terms of their actual thing, they're quite bomb-proof by all accounts. Quite hardy spiders. The only thing being the little downside to them is they are quite free at kicking hairs. Although when we took her out of her box, we saw that she'd done very, very little of that. You see a bit underneath. I think she's a very pretty spider. Right.
She's gonna come up. Get them fangs.
You see them fangs? You come around this way and come that. You'll see them. They are quite a large fang. I think these guys get up to around about 15 centimetres when full grown. So she is pretty much full grown. She's not going to get a lot bigger than this. And she's of a nice breeding age as well. It's going to be an interesting project. Right. We'll leave her to it. Let her do her thing. Settle down. You can actually see now with normal light the greenness coming out. So if you get one of these guys, if you're not seeing it on film, you get one, you will actually see it. If you come around this way, no, maybe you can literally see it coming through. You zoom in, we can see that green colouring. There it comes. Look at that. It is really quite a striking spider.
She's very pretty.
Very pretty. Right then, so that is our Peruvian green velvet. Now we will keep an eye on her. We'll see how much she webs up and what she does. I'm very pleased with how relaxed she was. Same as our robustum. Similar sort of thing, you know, they get into that initial attitude where they're sort of a little bit afraid, and then they soon realise that we're not here to actually cause them any harm, and they settle down nice and steady, which is really what we're aiming for. All the time we want to be aiming at keeping our spiders exactly in that nice calm way. Look, she's climbing up the glass now. You get a lovely shot of her underside all over there.
Get a bit of light on there for me, Dave.
That's a bit of light.
Lovely.
There you go. Not often we get to see the underside of our terrestrial spiders. This one's obviously feeling semi-arboreal. She will soon settle down. Once she finds that cork bark log there, she will soon disappear, and she'll be tucked away in there.
Oh, perfect. Just come
There we
with
go.
fangs because they look quite
They're quite big, aren't they?
they're big, but they seem quite skinny in comparison.
There she is. All right then. You done there? Lovely. Right then. Well, that was our well-behaved Thrixopelma pruriens. Very interesting spider. Right then. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. We will come and have a closer look. As I said a little while ago, we do have a little bit of a room tour planned. We just got a few more bits. We're still putting enclosures in place here. We're still filling enclosures. So we've not really probably, we haven't even done a third of the room yet. So we're going to wait until we get a few more bits and pieces in, get a few more things in place, and then we're going to do a nice little room tour. And we can come back and we can have a look at her and see what she's done. Also some of the other spiders, things like the funnel web, find out what webbing it's been doing. The huahini, you know, another big webber. We'll see what that one's been up to. So yeah, we can come back and check up on these guys in maybe a few weeks' time, and we'll see exactly what they've been up to and what they're looking like now. Right then, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I'll see you all soon, guys.